Every now and then, you meet the kind of person that actually makes you want to sit your ass down and write. I was lucky enough to meet 4 of them during the past 8 years that I've been collecting the material for Sorry Wrong Country, and 3 of them are featured in the book. The 4th one, unfortunately, will remain obscure for a while, as she's still mad about God and everything, and I need to give her time to come to terms with that. This particular story is of a man I choose to call the Supplicant. The Supplicant has God by the balls. When I want something done, I get people to do it for me. When I want it done fast, I get God on the case. He told me once while we were standing in line at the butcher's shop to get our Easter lamb. Prayer don't get you nowhere. The church always promises they'll lend a hand, but they're useless. No, if you want shit done, you go to the top guy. Back before the Supplicant worked the system to get a pension on the grounds of a sudden outburst of Down syndrome he developed while he was 39 years old, he used to work for the post office. For 2 decades, he was stuck with a shit work, delivering bills and urgent mail to the surrounding countryside, getting ambushed by farmers or beset by dogs as soon as he would step into a Roma ghetto. His life was a miserable parade of bite marks and buckshot patterns in the dirt before his feet, until he decided to strip down to his birthday suit and parade the streets of Athens one day, handing out power bills. This had been the 3rd phase in his little blackmail on God. I tried talking to God, asking for a sign, trawling for hope like a dumbass. He never listened, so I decided to take matters into our own hands. So I went all the way out to the temple of St. George in Cavouri, and I laid down the law. Either God gets me out of my shit job, or I make it real hard on him. At this point, the line had slowed down to a geological crawl, as an old couple in our front bickered with a cashier in an attempt to haggle. The Supplicant rolled his eyes at them and said, "Now that's just embarrassing. That's middle management stuff. They're wasting their time with the drones as if that'll help. Me? I hit the main man where it hurts," the Supplicant said, lowering his voice. "See, if you really read the Bible, you can see that God doesn't really want to hurt anybody. Not anymore. And he doesn't want anyone getting hurt if he can help it. Why do you think the priests are so strict on suicide? It's because God doesn't want to have anybody putting themselves in harm's way." Without missing a beat, the Supplicant launched into his theological business plan. This was more like establishing a pressure group, setting up the conditions for an offer God couldn't refuse. All it took was a clear-cut list of demands and laser-like focus. What you gotta do is go to a church, right? Drop on your knees in front of the saints and say, "I want this done." Now you gotta be firm, right? Show them you mean business. You got your demands and you won't take no for an answer, you hear? Then you get up, you light your candle, you make your alms donation, and then you're out of there. Message sent, received, and understood. Ahead of us, the old couple was doing a bit. The old woman had pretend collapsed on the bench, forehead pressed firmly against the metal counter. The old man was hissing at the clerk, spitting out accusations. "See what you done? See what you done?" All the while holding the neatly wrapped lamb leg like an infant. Haggling was slowly escalating into an all-out, over-the-counter meltdown. "You wait, of course. 2 weeks is a good average," the Supplicant said. "I mean, he's almighty, but even he needs to get things going, get the right people in the right places and all that. If it takes more than 2 weeks, though, that's when you start piling up the pressure. I got this friend. He likes to get in his car and start going past the speed limit, drive in the middle of the night without any lights on. My wife, she holds her hand over boiling water. They work, don't get me wrong, but they're too much trouble. Your best bet is fasting." The Supplicant fasts old school. Nothing but water and olives for weeks on end. No bread, no legumes, no fruit or vegetables or fish. He just lets the hunger set in, slowly turning into starvation, staring up at his bedroom ceiling until exhaustion overtakes him. The first couple of times he tried it, he was rushed to the hospital, half dead after 3 weeks without a bite to eat. After that, though, the management realized that the Supplicant really doesn't like to fuck around. "How do you think I got my son a cushy job in the tax agency? You think my daughter just happened to meet that rich lawyer online? My wife, she couldn't land a single audition before we got serious about it. Now God won't dare give me any shit, because he knows I mean business. The line started to move as the old couple finally paid up and left, the lamb leg firmly in hand. The woman behind them dropped down on the counter and began to sob right away. She was buying an entire lamb for Good Sunday and couldn't really afford to mess around. The supplicant just nudged me on the shoulder and pointed at her. Amateurs, right? I just nodded. All I did was ask him about the weather. For more stories of everyday weirdness, you can also check out my book, Sorry, Wrong Country. It's 200 pages in this vein, and it really shows you a ground zero look into Greece. And believe you me, it's a way more magical place than the adverts go on to say. So give it a look. Come on over here. Take a good, hard, long look at us. We're pretty fun people, and we'd love to have you.